At 11 o'clock, we got Duke traveling to UNC. This is going to be a game that I was not suspecting picking. Well, actually, I was expecting to pick it, but for a different reason. I'll get to that yet later. UNC's favorite at 20 points in this game on ESPN2. So why was I surprised to be picking this football game? I wasn't surprised. I was expecting to pick this football game because I expected UNC to be in the playoff conversation at this point in time. They are out of the playoff conversation after 4 games, which I did not see coming. After week 1, I did not see Duke being in the playoff conversation in week 5, but here we are. Duke, let's start with the Duke's start of the season. It was a heartbreaker. They ended up having a 31-28 loss at Charlotte. That was a huge game for Charlotte. Obviously got their first win against a Power 5 opponent. Huge game for them. But unfortunately for Duke, it was a huge loss for Duke. It was very disappointing. But then they ended up having a bounce-back win, obviously, the next week against North Carolina A&T. Ended up going winning that game 45-17. And then they had the game against Northwestern. And this was a game I thought could possibly be very good. It turned out to be pretty solid. They ended up having a 30-23 win over Northwestern. That was the big one for me. That's not an easy win. Like, the win against North Carolina A&T, you can classify that as easy. The next week when they play Kansas, you can classify that as easy. Northwestern is not a team that will roll over. It's coached extremely well by Pat Fitzgerald, and they normally have talent on both sides of the football. Now, is Northwestern one of the best Big Ten teams this year? No, they're not. I don't even know if they're going to be bowl eligible this year. But I do know that it's a Big Ten team, and you're not playing Kansas, and you're not playing Vanderbilt, which they didn't fight for Shell. This is a team that is actually a top football team, and that will give you a fight, and they did end up beating the Wildcats. And then they had the nice easy win, 52-33 against Kansas. Gunnar Holmberg, their quarterback, who has been pretty solid to start the year, if I'm going to be honest. And at 22 of 29, threw for 328 yards, threw for 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and added that 4 rushing touchdowns on the ground. Mateo Durant ended up having 21 carries for 124 yards and a touchdown. And Jake Bobo, their leading receiver, ended up having 7 catches for 105 yards. UNC, on the other hand, is a team that had very high expectations heading into the year, and ended up having those expectations extremely blown out of the water. This was a team that expected to be the playoffs this year. Like, they expected to be in the ASCC championship, and I don't know if that's going to happen this year, obviously. They started off the season very disappointingly with a 17-10 loss to Virginia Tech, obviously on the road, though. And then they ended up having the bounce-back win, 59-17 win over Georgia State. Then they ended up having another pretty impressive win, 59-39 against Virginia, where they went down. They got up early in that game, and then Virginia fought back, and then UNC ended up taking control of that game late, and it was very interesting. But then they ended up having the absolutely humiliating loss last week against Georgia Tech, 45-22 loss to the Yellow Jackets. Sam Howell ended up in that game not having bad stats at all, but unfortunately just not it leading to a win. Ended up going 25-39, threw for 306 yards and 2 touchdowns. Ty Chandler, their starting running back, which is a huge reason why I don't think this UNC team is very good this year, is the reason why you lose your top 2 running backs in Javonte Williams and Michael Carter, who are obviously both very good, both went high in the draft. And you end up with your running back last year, who's a number 3 option, starting, and it's just not working out. Ty Chandler has not been able to get going on the ground, and only having 17 carries for 48 yards on the ground. And Emory Simmons was their leading receiver, 3 receptions for 110 yards. How has this series gone before? Duke is 41-61 against UNC. Obviously, a huge gap there. UNC has dominated the series, and the last 2 games have gone UNC's way. Both games under Mac Brown, so I don't see that changing here. I don't think Duke is a phenomenally good football team, and I think UNC has a very good quarterback in Sam Howell. And I think this is, Mac Brown is a good enough head coach that they should beat Duke here and knock Duke out of playoff contention. So, bye Blue Devils. Sorry, I'm going to pick the Tar Heels.